nonprofits don't often have children come to their nonprofit centers for a variety of reasons. They're either not trained to be around children, they might be sick if their children that ill. So for us, we're hoping to engage our nonprofits to say, pick one day this year that kids can sign up here today to come help you, whether it's like Camp Sunshine is a great little, you just put candy inside an egg for their Easter egg hunt. It doesn't necessarily mean that the kids with cancer will be there in that moment, but you'll get to see the center. You get to be engaged. Because when you show up, you feel it and you see it. And even like Ronald McDonald House does that, where you can come and cook. Like, that's a great way to get involved in that nonprofit.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to No Limits with Kristin, Andree. We are here today with Michelle Hodgson, who is the founder of Children Helping Children. So we're going to talk about all things give back and philanthropy today. So thanks for being with me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited. So I got to meet Michelle, I guess maybe a month ago now, because I was fortunate enough recently to be selected in Best Self Magazine's Over 40 and Fabulous, and you are one of the alumni.
That is correct.
Yeah, so every year they do this contest, which was really cool. And the women that I've met through, I mean, they're men too. Our class happened to be all women. Really some cool stuff everybody's doing.
Yeah, I think the magazine and Sherry Dare, who's the founder there, do a really good job picking people of substance and trying to figure out, what makes them tick, how they give back. And they're just so uniquely different and special.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because when I first heard about the contest, I was like, okay, I didn't really know what it was about, but it was about taking care of yourself, taking care of, others in the community and giving back. And Sherry had invited me to the luncheon you did for Children Helping Children. I was like, okay, this is kind of neat. So tell us give us your background first and kind of how you got into the philanthropy space, because I think you came about it a different way than a lot of people. It wasn't just, I'm going to go volunteer.
Yeah. So my background is actually in child psychology and education. So I had the roots of what Children Helping Children is, but the actual nonprofit itself was born out of a tragedy. Quite frankly, it was my third son who passed away as a baby from complications of Down syndrome. And just like I think the really stellar things in life, it wasn't something that I had planned. It just sort of came to fruition because of who he was and how we wanted to celebrate his life. And it grew from there. So it was a birthday party at my house. And then the second year we had it was twice the size. By the third year we had it, there wasn't enough room in my house. And so So it
was a birthday party to celebrate your son?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And the party itself was just, obviously, there was no need to be bringing him gifts. We made gifts that we donated to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Okay.
Those are now our signature Be Well bears, which are little teddy bears that we stuff with things and give them not just to the hospital, but a lot of different locations here in Atlanta.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Well, and I should mention, too, you're the mother of 5. So you've got me beat. I have 3. So mom of 5 is a lot. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of joy. And I just love the whole tribe mentality of what happens with kids at different ages and how they learn so much inside the home before they go outside. And we lose that, I think, in the world that we live in because we are in different neighborhoods and I grew up Croatian where every weekend we were with my family, and you just, in that net of people, you learn so much. And so I think I've always just wanted to have a lot of kids for that reason, so that the older can learn how to, teach and take care of, and the younger can learn things from the older and such.
So how did you teach them the give back and the philanthropy piece? Because we'll get into, what you guys are doing with Children Helping Children, but you most of the time volunteer work when we're adults, like you said, we lose that.
Yeah.
A lot of us are used to going to a charity event or writing a check or doing something like that, but not really what I would call giving and participating in giving. So how did you teach that in your kids?
Well, partly, children learn concretely. It's not an abstract thing for them to hold on to the concept of giving a toy or something to a child that's far away. For them to actually be hands-on and sensorial with the experience, and then especially the delivery part, going to the centers and giving them to the kids or meeting them. That's the missing link that I was noticing as we were sort of writing the curriculum, that our kids were detached from the kids that they were serving. And one of my favorite earliest memories was taking my younger two to what's no longer a nonprofit called Albert T. Mills Elementary. And we were there during snack time, and one of the little boys had spilled milk, and the director that was there was kind of getting on him, and my kids were looking at me like, it's milk, you spill milk and it's an accident.
Yeah.
And so I said, why don't you ask her, about that? And she said, at your house, you open the refrigerator and there's milk. In his house, there's no milk before he came and there's no milk when he goes home. This is the only glass of milk that he'll have all day. And my kids to this day remember, we talk about, that milk is significant. And so, as a parent, you can sit there and say, there are kids over here that need this, or kids
Right.
or you need to be grateful because you have this.
Right.
But unless they actually experience it, it's not going to be in their memory to understand that that's the reality.
Because they don't see that every day. So how did your, the birthday party to honor your son, how did that grow? It obviously grew each year.
Mm-hmm.
How did it get to the point where you were giving back and getting the kids involved in the community?
Well, to be honest, at first it was a little selfish in that we were aching. I mean, we just wanted a way to mark his life. He was a baby when he died, so there weren't a lot of memories.
I cannot even imagine. Like, I really can't.
And it wasn't. It was sort of frustrating to not have people meet him and be like, this was a baby. This wasn't, a miscarriage. This was a child that was part of our life. And we wanted to just highlight how we felt around him, which was lit up. I mean, there was just some essence about him that was more angelic than anything. And, it's why we use the word light at CHD, because he had that light that we just wanted to pass along and share with others. So it started as a means for us all to just kind of heal. So it's a little bit selfish in that way.
And that's okay.
And what happened was just the magic of giving fueled us. And it really is, it fills you more than you could ever really give it when you're giving. And our kids felt it. And then the parents that were there, we were noticing it wasn't just like my friends and family. So it was no longer just about, we're coming to support you and love you, but like, this has value, and we want this more in our city. So when I would go to different schools and people that didn't really know me, I realized, like, we need more of this in the world. It isn't just because of my story and this child, but there's a big divide. We've got a lot of real affluent kids, and then kids that really truly have primary needs, and both are the recipient of this organization, because our affluent kids are able to really have gratitude for the life that they have and a greater perspective of what goes on, and the understanding that they can help, and not just can help, but should help. It's our responsibility to share in the world. And, our children that don't have these primary things like food and backpacks and such are quite fascinating and can tell you, the needs of their community in a real way that allow us all to work better together. And it's quite magical, I think.
That's so cool. So tell us what you guys do now, because you have space, you have physical space, which is a super cool thing. And what I noticed when I walked in, not only is it like a great vibe where if I'm a kid, I'm like, this is an awesome place to hang out. There were literally a gazillion teddy bears that you guys have there, just waiting for to be given. So tell us about Children Helping Children and what kind of the premise is and how you get all the kids working together, because it's truly children led.
It absolutely is. And quite frankly, I think the world would be a better place if we listened to them more.
Don't you think so?
I really do.
If we can get them into politics, that would be fantastic.
They just have common sense, and I have a very deep faith, and they're closer to God than we are. They don't forget the things that we forget as adults, and they're joyful and excited about life and lit up and creative, and we all should be more like that. So I learn a lot from just being around them. It's a joy just to be in the presence of kids more often than adults. But the center itself is there. We have a year-round curriculum. We do art, music, and play therapy all year.
Okay.
It's called the Light and Love Loft. That's what that center is. And so we do that at the loft, and then we have an outreach program where we go to schools and nonprofits.
So who comes to the loft? Like, how do they get there?
It depends on the program, but so sometimes we'll have field trips come. Sometimes we'll have people do birthday parties. Sometimes we'll support nonprofits projects. The last one I think you heard me talking about at the Gratitude Luncheon was we hosted or partnered with Gigi's Playhouse, which is a nonprofit that supports kids with Down syndrome. Yeah. And they had their collegiate kids come and do a little pop-up coffee shop. So they practiced, social skills and vocational training and counting money and all that. So we try to support what they're doing and then tag on what we do, which is the end result of that the money that was raised for the coffee shop would also benefit another nonprofit serving children. So we give them the strategic part of giving back as well.
Very nice. So what do the kids, when they come, what do they do?
Well, right now we're in the middle of our junior board program. So we had our very first meeting last week, and these are the kids that are hosting the festival that I guess
so
we're going to talk about.
I know, I'm so excited about it. All right, so, but each year you guys pick a junior board. Like you think of nonprofits and they have a board, and I sit on a couple of boards, and you go to board meetings and you talk about board stuff and logistics.
Exactly.
And I've got to think that having a board of kids, like you're creating, and because I mean, you're on boards. Some of the meetings are not this most riveting, they're not earth shattering. I would think like a board of kids would just be cool. I mean, I can't imagine like the brainstorming, the ideas that come out. So how'd you decide to have a junior?
It organically happened, like in my belief, everything magical that happens. But basically, the kids that were younger that started with CHC were getting older, and assembling backpacks and teddy bears were perfect for sort of that 5 to maybe even 10 pushing 8-year-old. But then we were faced with kids that were 11, 12, 13 and older. And so rather than customize some curriculum that I was forcing, they were organically showing us that they were teaching the younger ones when we were all together. So we then made them the teachers of the younger ones. So they run projects that like at the festival, they'll be teaching them certain things at their tent. So in essence, what the junior board is we pick 12 kids from all over Atlanta between the ages of 12 and 16. They have an application process, and we're deeply rooted in diversity. We want to make sure that we're representing every kind of kid from every background, every race, religion, belief system. And we feel like if we can create peace within that group of kids, that can emanate to peace for all of the kids.
Yeah.
They have great ideas. I will say at that age, because again, we're talking, teenage years, it's sad to see that the once creative little ones have a tendency to be timid around adults in the beginning. Like, what are you asking me to do? Like at school, we ask them to perform so much, and this is how it's supposed to look. And what we want to do at CHE is say, like, this is your space. We're just giving you a platform. You let us know what you want to do. And we make them leaders, and we engage that creative side. So much of the first part of all of our meetings is open studio, where they're able to do everything from play ping pong to sew to paint to create music, and to open up that channel of creativity and just allow them to feel comfortable in their own skin and dig deeply into their own passions. And then we teach them the philanthropic part, everything from picking their own nonprofit to supporting at the festival through the in-kind donation drives that we have.
So each of your board members, they pick their own nonprofit.
Absolutely.
That they support.
And some know coming in, they're very attached to certain ones. The majority don't. And so we do a lot of just questioning and probing and trying to understand. Typically what happens, just like in my scenario, there's something that's born out of an experience they had, either something that they lacked that they wanted to provide for other people because they knew what it felt like to lack, or maybe a sibling that was in the hospital and they had empathy for someone in their family and they wanted to support that particular cause. And so you just got to give them space and the ability to take a deep breath and look around and realize how powerful they are. And we've just seen such wonderful little stories of what they want to do and how they want to do it. I mean, we're often brought to tears. Really.
I can't imagine. I mean, I just think it's so cool because they do have, I feel like kids have a bigger heart than adults. Somewhere along the line as we get older and life happens and families happen and kids happen, we kind of squish the creativity and we squish the give back a little bit, I think.
Well, I think it's just, fear. You get older and we get so used to trying to correct them, to mold them into what we think they should become. And it's geared in fear. And, they love as much as we do, but I think adults are blocked. They're not. They're wide open to just be like, I want to do more. I want to see more. I want to learn more. I want to give more. And so in my opinion, as adults, if you have children in your life, just protect that. Fiercely. Just allow them to know that they are special, and we don't want to corral them into just some ordinary little box, and give them the ability to, shine their God-given light.
Yeah, and we got to quit squashing the creativity.
Yeah, so, we're missing it.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about Love Fest, which is the big event you guys have coming up this fall. I'm so excited for it. So we're going to pause for just a minute. We'll be back in just a few.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Kristin. Be sure and visit my website at www.andreegroup.com. That's www.andree group.com. And while you're there, be sure to download my white paper, Top 10 Reasons Your Business Isn't Growing Fast Enough. Now get out there and create your no limits moment. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to No Limits with Kristin Andree. We are here with I can't talk. We're talking slurring speech, and I'm already doing it.
There's that wine.
Michelle, we were talking about having wine. We have not had any, but one may think I have. I think I'm going to start. Okay. So, Michelle, before the break, we were talking about children helping children and your charity. So you've got a big event coming up this fall called Love Fest, which, first of all, cool name. I feel like I'm going to Woodstock or something with this. And it's pretty much as big of a location as Woodstock.
Awesome.
Yeah. So tell us about Love Fest.
Well, our slogan is Little Hands, Big Love. And so the original title was Little Hands, Big Love Fest. And then we just decided to shorten it to Love Fest.
It's easier to say.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
So that is the festival that the Junior Board of Directors that we were talking about earlier actually runs themselves. So we spend the whole summer with them, getting them to pick that nonprofit we talked about.
Okay.
They reach out to the executive directors and they figure out what their wish list item is. They put projects together at the festival. So if you came with your family,
which I am, I'm already registered.
Awesome.
Already signed up.
And by the way, it's super important. This is the very first year that we're having everybody register. It is a 100% free festival.
That's it's totally free, though.
It's totally free, but it allows us to quantify the numbers so that we're able to have enough projects and food and all that kind of good stuff in the experience. Awesome. So we want to make sure people register. But if you were to come with your family, you would go to these junior board tents and meet the directors and learn about the nonprofit they're supporting. So, and then actively assemble gifts. So you might be putting school supplies in backpacks or art therapy materials in our Be Well bears, whatever it is. I don't know because I'm not running the festival. These teenagers are.
I think that's so cool. I mean, it's cool, but it's a little scary at the same time. I don't know if I'd let my teenagers loose to run an entire festival. Yours are probably much more coordinated and skilled than mine.
No, the truth is that this is what's so funny. Last week was our first meeting and the parents did what you just did, which is like,
are you sure?
I need to sort of like know what they're doing to get on. And what I say and what we say is just, we got it. Like, let them be, and they will show up in a way that you
It'll
can't
probably
even
be way better than what we would have did if we scripted it for them.
It really is because they get super invested and excited about it. And when you give them full ownership, they fall on their own or they rise on their own. And so they're all into it.
Which is a great, honestly, for kids, especially teenagers, I feel like too many times I'm not a rescue parent. Mm-hmm. Like I'm the one who, you mess up, it's not my problem. Mm-hmm. But too many people save and rescue.
It's true. And, it comes from a loving place because we want our kids to succeed and we don't want to see them, having pain and all that kind of stuff. But it really does enable them to, like that book, The Blessing of a Skinned Knee, or like the whole theory is that let them fall when they're smaller so that the stakes aren't very high. Yep. Because if you keep rubbing this this bubble wrap around them, then they grow up and the stakes are much scarier. So they have to find their balance some way, and it's the best way to do it. But and also you get the creativity side, which like we'd squash it if you were like, okay, they should look like this, and they're like, no,
exactly.
And then it's always awesome. So anyway,
so they each of your board is going to do a separate activity.
They'll be at their own tents.
Okay.
And so that's the nucleus of the festival where you'll be coming and assembling these gifts, and then the nonprofits will also be there. So in essence, what we want to gift them is awareness for their nonprofit so that they can get support throughout the year, and then these in-kind donations that will benefit their nonprofit. And that would be at the center of the festival, and then all around it is an experience. So we have Kid Fit Strong, which is our nonprofit, our for-profit business that has adopted us as their nonprofit, and they are going to have their entire obstacle course with zip line and bumper balls. And
okay, we will post a link to this video because I saw the video when you sent it out or you posted. I was like, this is really cool. Like my kid, I showed it to my kids. They're like, we got to go.
Exactly.
So they're doing that. They're coming out to help support the organization.
They're literally donating that for all of our kids that come there for free. And then also Home Depot Foundation and Diablo Tools are two of our big sponsors that will have an incredible experience. And I'm talking like they build birdhouses that are like, I mean, they're using power tools for real, nice. For free, and they go home with them. So there's a lot of take homes. And then we have exhibitors that'll also be there gifting out materials to our kids. So everything is totally free with the exception of if you want to buy dinner with the food trucks. And then end of the day is we're having a talent and light celebration where kids will be performing, and you get to showcase all of the kids that are going to be either singing, dancing, or again, we're still soliciting kids to do that.
Nice.
But it's a way that we sort of wrap up the day. And I forgot to say, there's also a fun run in the morning. It's a full day of events. Fun run starts at 10, festival starts at 11, and then it ends at 7. So it'll be a full day.
So it's here in Atlanta.
Yes.
Where?
Piedmont Park.
Which is, that's what I'm saying. This is not a small venue here.
Exactly. In fact, this is the first year that we're doing it at the Meadow, which is a massively huge space. If you're at Park Tavern, it's that whole green kidney-shaped area right there.
It's massive.
We anticipate to have thousands of people there this year, which is super exciting because,
Very cool.
Our vision from the get-go when we thought of the festival was where could we have a place in the heart of our city that's outside, that welcomes every child possible. And so, you're going to have kids from all over Atlanta. In fact, we're really trying to work on busing for some of our children in homeless shelters to be able to come and experience it. And the whole key is nobody knows when you're at the festival where you come from. You're just a kid trying to play, have fun, and give back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. So how can, other than signing up, which you need, and we'll post the link to sign up.
Yeah.
How can people help?
Well, if you do explore our website, it'll give you a good idea of what we're doing. And of course, in the nonprofit world, money is always needed.
Is key.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, we're not selling anything. We're creating a village of givers and light and love. If you show up to this festival, something would be very strange if you didn't want to give in some way, because you feel what this is about. Our entire village of people that volunteer do this with 100% no salaries. We're literally all committed to this mission so deeply. And we would want you to show up and be like, wow, we believe in this, and how can we help, in your own right. So really, honestly, I always just encourage people to come to the festival, because when you come, you'll get it.
I think it's cool. Yeah, I'm so excited. The zip line itself should draw a lot of kids.
The zip line itself.
But I tell you, I like the idea of having the tents and being able to put your hands on a project, especially for a kid.
Yeah,
because you said, now the nonprofits will be there. You mentioned earlier that part of getting children engaged, and adults as well, is being able to see what they've done and how that plays out. So if somebody's making bears or backpacks or anything, will they have an opportunity to kind of see how that plays out, or talk to the people from the other organizations?
They will talk to them. Every project that we give away has a postcard on it, and oftentimes it comes back to us given from the recipient of the donation. So there's a note that's always attached. But to be honest with you, there is a hole that I noticed even from day one when we started this nonprofit over a decade ago. And it's no one's fault really, but nonprofits don't often have children come to their nonprofit centers for a variety of reasons. They're either not trained to be around children, they might be sick if they're children that ill. So for us, we're hoping to engage our nonprofits to say, pick one day this year that kids can sign up here today to come help you. Whether it's like Camp Sunshine is a great little, you just put candy inside an egg for their Easter egg hunt. It doesn't necessarily mean that the kids with cancer will be there in that moment, but you'll get to see the center. You get to be engaged. Because when you show up, you feel it and you see it. And even like Ronald McDonald House does that, where you can come and cook. That's a great way to get involved in that nonprofit. But the idea, and I'm saying this not just for families, but for any nonprofits that are listening, the idea is to give them a space to come and show up if you really want them to be engaged, because when you're in the middle of it, you're called to do it. It's not just an abstract piece of paper that says we need scissors or, what have you. Well,
and that's what I think so many of us are used to, and our kids are used to, is, here's your donation list, here's that. My middle daughter she'll be going to high school next year, and she was in junior beta this year, and they have to do a certain number of volunteer hours. Even as a teenager, it was difficult to find hours and organizations that she could volunteer for at her age. For my youngest, who's will be 10 this summer, almost impossible. Exactly. Most of the nonprofits, it was very hard to find a family-friendly. The Y near I live up north a little bit, so the Y near my house does have a family day. You can assemble sandwiches and things like that, but it's very particular. It's few and far between. So I love the fact that you can get all ages. Anybody could come to this, right?
Any age. And we're hoping to change that in general through our year-round curriculum too, to kind of bridge that gap so that they get more support in a safe way, and we all feel more engaged in what we're doing, because that's the heart space where you connect, where it's just not this idea, but it's this person and this place and this situation. So, I
think it's exciting. I'm excited for Love Fest. So what do you feel like what would you love to see? Where is this going? Like 5 years, 10 years from now, what does this look like?
It just amplifies. So like, I want every kid in Atlanta to know that we exist and to know that when they come across a problem, whether it's internally in their community, I think I spoke on this when we had the gratitude lunch about the boys from CYT down the hall, or CYD down the hall, that they were on our junior board and they had shoes that were dirty, and they wanted to start this business cleaning shoes because it was just sort of a sign of respect to have these shoes. And that was internally in their community, and we were able to give them a platform to change that and be leaders and give back in their own right. There's just something super powerful about if you're stuck and you're unable to move forward, and we're able to help do that. It's such an empowering, healing place to be. So we want every kid to be involved, every kid to know that if there's a problem, we want to help them solve it, because in my opinion, we have everything that we need in this community to solve all of our problems if we just come together. And so we just want to be that bridge. If a kid comes up, I remember, I don't know if you were like this, and I'm sure that you were because you do what you do, but I remember thinking, I have really good ideas and no one's listening to me.
Yeah.
And I would start to talk, and it was kind of this poo-pooey of like, oh, that's really cute. And I remember thinking, it's not cute. I want to do this. And so for me, when I sit down with kids and I see that, I'm like, tell me more. What do you need?
Yep.
And I'm just jotting down stuff, and I just want to help give their little voices the platform and amplify it.
And I feel like they probably know best, especially like you said, in different communities. Kids know what they need.
They do.
But a lot of times they don't have the space or the opportunity to be able to voice that or talk about it.
Yeah. And Andie from Andie's Army is a nonprofit here in Atlanta, and she had a non-traumatic brain injury that left her in a coma for 2 years, and she came out, and one of her projects she wanted to do was put a certain bag on the back of her wheelchair that had 2 hooks on it so she didn't have to hold it. Mm-hmm. How would I know that? I've never been in a wheelchair. I want to know that. I want to know what that looks like. And so talk about walk a mile, we want to walk a mile in any kid's shoes that are struggling. So that
I love that. I think that's what's most intriguing, is that you're actually hearing from the people in the community and from the kids what they want, because too many times we try to fix a problem that may not be a problem, so we think we have an understanding of what the problem is, and it may be something totally different.
Or how about this one? At Backpack Blessings is another nonprofit. It gets kids from Friday to Monday that are on free and reduced lunch. They don't have food all weekend, so they give them a backpack filled with food all weekend long, and their only responsibility is to bring the bag back on Monday. One little boy came in without his bag, and the teacher said, well, explain to Stacy why you don't have the bag. And he thought he was in trouble, and he said, my mom was getting gas and she had $5, and I went to go pay for it, and I knew that was her only $5, and I went to the door. There was a man with a baby that was asking for money, and I knew I couldn't give my $5, so instead I went and gave him my food.
Oh,
so here we are.
All the feels.
Here we are, giving them an opportunity, being so grateful to receive, to then give back, because they know what it feels like. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. How about that? See, I get all teary-eyed by watching the live stream. I tear up easy. All right, we're going to take another short break, and we come back. We're going to talk about how you can get involved with Love Fest and in your own community. So we'll be back in just a minute. Hey everyone, check out my podcast, No Limits with Kristin Andree, on Tuesday nights at 7:30. We will tackle the things holding you back and the limits you set on yourself, and equip you with some strategies to lead more intentional lives. Podcast launches every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on facebook.com/Andree Group. That's facebook.com/ANDREE Group. We'll see you there. Hi guys, welcome back to No Limits with Kristin Andree. We are wrapping up our time with Michelle Hodgson. I still can't say this today, for the love of all things holy.
Anyway. That would have been
I know, I like it. All right, so we are wrapping up our time. We've been talking about all things give back, Love Fest, all this. So your charity that you founded, for those of you guys tuning in, Children Helping Children, been around over a decade, which is awesome for a nonprofit. And I mean, you're truly nonprofit. Everything is going right back in.
Yes, ma'am.
So I love the fact that you're involving the kids and you're really getting their input as to what's needed. Mm-hmm. So I love Fest. For those of you guys in Atlanta, if you have not already signed up, you need to go sign up. So what's the website? Where do they go?
To directly register, it'd be chclovefest.com. To register and learn more about us, go to our website, which is chcAtlanta.org. Either one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm excited because I'm in Atlanta. I can do this. But if somebody's not local, what can they do?
It's interesting because I've had friends in other cities ask that in terms of franchising, because I do think that once we're really rolling here that we'll be able to do this and replicate it in other cities. It's a global, I think, initiative that needs to go there. But for right now, it's very easy for us to send like a little package of 10 Be Well Bears for them to work on and throw a little like curriculum piece in there. So if any kid listening or family listening wants to be engaged in service, please reach out. And you can do that by going to our website and send us a little.
I think that's awesome. I'd love to see this kind of trickle out somewhere, because when I'd heard about it at the luncheon, because I wasn't familiar until I went to the gratitude luncheon, I'm like, this is just so neat. And it started so sweetly and so organically and just as a way to kind of honor and give back, but it's kind of morphed really is into what's important to other people.
It's really morphed. And as I mentioned, my degree is not in business. I've had to learn how to run one, but I do, as I also mentioned, I have a real strong faith in God and feel like this has been a co-creation between Cole's little spirit and God guiding me and letting me know really what my own light and mission is. And I feel real comfortable just going with it. Just like,
well, I think you said Cole had a big light and a big, draw. So that's what's attracting everybody in, which is really awesome. So, all right, we're expecting everybody to go to Love Fest. Yes. Everybody here in Atlanta, no excuses. Dates October
20th at Piedmont Park in the Meadow. And highly encourage you to walk, bike, Lyft, Uber. It's going to be a lot of people, and it's always the weather is amazing in October anyway. So so excited to see.
And you can start the day with the run, right?
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to do the run, have a little breakfast, and do yoga on the green. So it's a great way to come in wellness. That's an actual ticket price, and you can also get that at the same website. It's $30 a ticket for that.
For the yoga and the run.
For the run, yeah.
I will probably be skipping the run. Not a runner. Those of you guys watching the live stream, if you're seeing me fidget all in my chair, I herniated a disc. So I am, if I'm guessing if you're just listening to the audio, it's sounding okay, maybe.
You sound great.
Yeah, I held off from the medication so we could actually get through the interview, but I'm squirming a little bit in the chair. So hopefully by October, probably still won't be running, but maybe I'll be moving a little bit quicker.
We can push you in a wagon. It's actually called the Fly K. People are going to be in capes and wings, so it doesn't mean.
Oh, I'll dress up. Yeah, I will wear a cape for sure.
Listen, if you come and your back is still hurting you and you put on a tutu or wings, I personally will pull you in a wagon.
If my back is still hurting in October, we are in a lot of trouble. No, I think I've only got it's a new injury, so I think I should be better by a week or two. But I will absolutely be there. So you failed to mention that earlier. I did not know we were doing capes and costumes, because I'm all about the Wonder Woman costume.
Exactly. I mean, listen, it's a Fly K. We're flying around the meadow. We're shining our light and being excited about starting the day, and
all right, so I think that's the best way to get back, is to be a superhero. Now, am I allowed to wear for Love Fest? Can I wear my Wonder Woman cape all day?
I'm okay with it. You might want to talk to your children, because I don't know how. Usually I've got to run those things.
My goal in life is to embarrass my children, so I think we'll be good. All right, so I'm so proud of you, first and foremost, because I just think that's awesome. So many of us, when it comes to giving back, I feel like we latch on to something else that somebody did. Like I said, we write a check, we go to a gala, we do stuff. A lot of us volunteer our time. That's all great. I'm not trying to poo-poo any of that, because I certainly do it. But the fact that you had this idea that just kind of morphed and you ran with it is awesome, because I could totally see this expanding globally.
I will say this, that it is such a blessing and an honor to do this work. And I, firsthand experience, can tell you that it absolutely healed this hole in my heart. And if you're listening and you're struggling with anything, whatever you want, if you give it to someone else, it will rub off on you. So there's no reason but to choose joy when you can try to go that route.
Love, light, and joy. I love it. Yeah. See, now you're getting me all teary-eyed again. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. You guys check out Children Helping Children. Register for Love Fest in October here in Atlanta. And more importantly, figure out what you can do to give back in your own community. Listen to the kids and figure out what's needed and see where you can lend a hand.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. All right, folks, until next week, keep pushing past those limits.